So we all know by now that Billy Grade was the traitor within the Peaky Blinders, being revealed in Season 6. This video aims to discover what exactly he did to be considered a traitor, and how it affected both Tommy Shelby and the Peaky Blinders gang as a whole. However, we must first understand who Billy is, and what his journey was throughout the TV series, known as Peaky Blinders. He is introduced early on in Season 5 as being an Irish retired professional football player who becomes a singer in the Garrison pub. Arthur and Finn decide to recruit him into the Peaky Blinders due to his connections with the football players and referees. This is the first time in which we see Billy's severe uncomfortableness around both Arthur and Finn. He dreads the idea of becoming a Peaky Blinder, seen being visibly shaken and scared by the indoctrination of himself. Then throughout the season, he is seen getting closer with Finn. The two fall into sloppy habits while running the betting shop, doing drugs such as cocaine and drinking regularly while on the job. This eventually leads them into becoming great friends, even best friends in Season 6, leading to Finn's eventual exile. However, he is still seen to be scared around Arthur and Tommy. Now we know by the time that episode 6 comes around in Season 5, that Billy is working for some external source, as could be seen when he picked up the phone after Finn naively told him that the Peaky Blinders intended on killing a fascist that night, just seemingly when Oswald Mosley was in town. Billy then picks up the phone and rings someone whom was at the time anonymous. We know that is now the IRA woman Laura McKee, who was, in Season 6, a kind of minor antagonist. Furthermore, thanks to Season 6, we understand that he was indeed a traitor, being an informant for the Irish Republican Army, concerning the actions and plans of the Peaky Blinders, and more importantly, Tommy Shelby and his political aspirations. This phone call obviously led to the death of Polly, Aberama, and Barney, as well as the failure of Tommy's assassination plan, a major setback for the Peaky Blinders and their plans. This brings us to Season 6, where unfortunately Billy is really only showed in the final 2 episodes. However, these episodes do not disappoint and are arguably the best of Season 6. Billy is reintroduced as being an essential part of the Peaky Blinders football betting organisation, threatening referees and players to obtain specific outcomes for the Peaky Blinders. However, it should be noted that Arthur still shows a great deal of hostility towards Billy, slapping him hard on his legs and insulting him. This is even further escalated when Arthur forces Billy to kill the referee who refuses to follow the Peaky Blinders' orders. Billy is physically broken by the action of forceful killing, as many people understandably would be. In that pivotal moment, potentially explains his reasons for betrayal from the beginning. Billy never wanted to be a part of the Peaky Blinders, and the constant bullying and pressure he experienced from Arthur and the other members made him resent the gang even further. However, he knew that if he could become good friends with the weakest link, being Finn, whom in Season 5 became reckless, arrogant, and too emotionally driven, not taking into account the effects of his actions or words, he would be able to maintain the trust of at least one Peaky Blinder, hopefully concealing his true intentions and remaining just unimportant enough within the gang to lay low and slowly feed damning evidence and plans to the IRA, with the ultimate hope of destroying the Peaky Blinders. In the very next scene after he is forced to murder the referee, all of these claims are satiated as Jack Nelson, one of the antagonists in Season 6, violently tortures Billy into doing his bidding, after he was made known that Billy was in fact the informant within the Shelby organization. And thus, Billy and Finn in the final episode of Peaky Blinders arrive drunk to Arrow House, believing they are there to recover vital documents and dig up bodies for Tommy. Contrastingly to the other Peaky Blinders, they treat the situation as a party. Billy is eventually tied up off-screen and beaten by Duke and Isaiah, as well as the other members present. This all culminates into Finn choosing to betray Duke and Isaiah to save Billy's life, in which Finn is exiled and Billy is shot dead. First, to understand what exactly Billy did to betray Tommy, we must know why he maybe decided to. As can be seen from their first encounter, he is visibly scared and intimidated by the Peaky Blinders, unwillingly being forced into their gang operation. Additionally, he is neither treated respectfully or valuably whilst he is a part of the gang. So these two aspects combined, his unwillingness and uncomfortableness in the gang, would have undoubtedly led him to betraying them at the first opportunity possible. So now with the knowledge of who exactly Billy is and why he could have possibly betrayed them out of the way, what exactly did he do to betray Tommy Shelby and, more importantly, the Peaky Blinders as a whole? Let's obviously get the big obvious one out of the way. The very first instance within the show that depicts Billy's devious nature is that of the night concerning Mosley's assassination. Finn tells Billy that they will be killing a fascist, and once Finn leaves the room, Billy picks up the telephone and presumably rings someone. Now, before season 6, we didn't know in fact if Billy was the traitor, but as it turns out, thanks to Jack Nelson and a not so funny time in the bathhouse to say the least, Billy is ousted as the traitor. So from there, Billy calls the IRA on the night of Mosley's assassination to warn them that Mosley will be assassinated by the Peaky Blinders. That there is his first act of betrayal towards both Tommy and the Peaky Blinders. The consequences of this action are vast, with multiple Peaky Blinders members being killed, and as you could have guessed, the actual assassination of Mosley being botched. The members whom were killed by the IRA thanks to Billy's betrayal were inclusive of Aberama Gold, Barney Thompson, and Polly Gray. These deaths obviously impacted both Tommy and the Peaky Blinders to an irreparable degree, especially the death of Polly, as she was almost an advisor to Tommy and would somewhat keep him grounded in certain scenarios. And obviously with the failed attempt on Mosley, the IRA gained access and control over Tommy. If you remember the morning after, when all the bodies are delivered and deaths are revealed, Laura McKee, the IRA leader, basically insults Tommy and more or less incites that they will be working together. Fast forward 4 years and it is seen that they indeed are working together, although begrudgingly. The second biggest thing that Billy does to both betray Tommy and the Peaky Blinders is that he delivers the information to Gina and Jack Nelson, who then relay to the IRA on the whereabouts of Arthur on the night of his anniversary with Linda. Now, this was all obviously a setup by the Peaky Blinders, as we know in Season 6, Episode 6, but nonetheless, it was still interesting and informative as to Billy's betrayal and the impacts they had. So, for a quick rundown regarding Billy's betrayal to Gina and Jack, basically when Billy goes to the meeting in Season 6, Episode 6 after being tortured by Jack in the previous episode, he has the goal to find out where exactly Arthur will be whilst Tommy is in Miquelon. Arthur says very openly that he'll be in the garrison with his wife, as it is their anniversary. Billy obviously takes note and then supplies this information to Gina. We then know this as Mike was released from prison, and in his Boston apartment we see Gina on the phone to the informant, being Billy Grade, or one of Billy Grade's associates, and Billy tells her where exactly Arthur will be. Gina or Billy then forwards this onto the IRA, which we don't see but can definitely be assumed, as they plan their attack to assassinate Arthur. Now, this would have gone to plan, and have been a massive blow to the Peaky Blinders if they hadn't already known who the traitor was, as Uncle Charlie also tells Duke in the beginning of the final episode. If they were obvious, the IRA would have killed Arthur, probably in a different location, as the garrison anniversary was a setup, but still, nonetheless. Essentially, if the setup wasn't so obvious, Arthur could have actually died due to Billy's betrayal. But, obviously, with them knowing who the traitor was, they planned around him telling the IRA these specific details, in turn outplaying them and in the end defeating the IRA, in a phenomenal scene where Arthur kills Laura McKee with the help of Jeremiah and Uncle Charlie, as well as another French army member which we haven't seen throughout the whole show, but he was a preacher almost in the beginning of the fight. It's an excellent scene. And yeah, those were the two biggest implications and actions really which the traitor Billy made within the show. We explored what they were and who they impacted. Now, obviously, as you know, Billy was found out and killed eventually by Duke, Tommy's long-lost son, which also led to Finn's eventual exile, putting an end to the traitors within the Peaky Blinders. And actually, a cool another point I quickly want to bring up, I'll be making a video soon on the Peaky Blinders VR game, which has actually been confirmed to be canon, so their storyline takes place between seasons 4 and 5. And it would be really interesting to view that and see potentially if there was any other traitors besides Billy, as between season 4 and 5, Billy wasn't actually in the gang yet, but there's a gang called the Boys of Winter, I believe, and they are trying to undermine the Peaky Blinders, so we'll see. It's going to be an interesting video to say the least. And yeah, with all that being said, I hope you found this video useful and enjoyed it. If so, leave a like and subscribe, but most importantly, share the video around. It really does help out. And yeah, nonetheless, I hope you have a great day or night, wherever you are.